The Beatles discography.
In their native United Kingdom during 1962 to 1970, the Beatles released 12 studio albums, 13 EPs, and 22 singles. However, the band's international discography is complicated, due to different versions of their albums sometimes being released in other countries, particularly during their early years on Capitol Records in the United States. The Beatles discography was originally released on the vinyl format, with full-length long plays, shorter EPs, and singles. Over the years, the collection has also been released on cassette, 8-track, compact disc, and on a USB flash drive in MP3 and 24-bit FLAC format. Although their output has come to include vault items and remixed mashups, the core Beatles discography recorded during the 1960s is 217 songs and approximately 10 hours of music. Most of the Beatles albums were released in both mono and stereo. Since mono record players were the most common at the time, the Beatles and their regular producer George Martin gave more time and attention to preparing mono mixes of their recordings. The Beatles had involved themselves in creating only the mono mixes for the first 4 albums. The stereo mixes were prepared without their supervision. However, because by the late 1960s stereo record players became more common, their final 2 albums, Abbey Road and Let It Be, were mixed and released in stereo only. From 1968, in both the UK and the US, starting with the single Hey Jude, and the album The Beatles, better known as the White Album, new releases appeared on the Apple label. Parlophone and Capitol catalogue numbers continued to be used for contractual reasons. The Beatles' UK discography was released on CD in the late 1980s. According to the official editions of the first 4 albums, they were released in mono. The remaining albums were then issued in stereo only. However, the sound of the digital transfers of the discs, produced by George Martin in 1987 and 1988 using the best equipment available during the early days of the format, no longer met the standards achievable of 21st century techniques. From 2005, over a 4-year period, the original recordings were remastered using the latest technology. Apple and EMI released this version of the Beatles catalogue on CD on September 9, 2009, that is, September 9, 2009, as in, number 9, number 9, number 9 in mono and stereo.
Albums. Studio albums.
Magical Mystery Tour was released as a 6-song double EP in the United Kingdom and is a longer 11-song LP in the United States. When the Beatles catalogue was released on CD in the 1980s, the longer US version was chosen for release and is now considered to be part of their official catalogue. The table includes studio albums released in multiple countries. ABCD. The original United States release featured different tracks than the United Kingdom release. 1987 re-released CD issues in the United States featured the same tracks as the original United Kingdom release. Magical Mystery Tour originally peaked at number 31 in the United Kingdom as an import of the United States issue. Parlophone officially issued the album in the UK on November 19, 1976.
Compilation albums.
The 1962 Polydor released German issue of My Bonnie was credited to Tony Sheridan and the Beat Brothers. All subsequent Polydor issues credited the album to the Beatles featuring Tony Sheridan. The Beatles EP collection is a 15-disc box set comprising the 13 original extended plays released by Parlophone in the United Kingdom, including mono and stereo editions of the Magical Mystery Tour EP, and a new disc entitled The Beatles EP, which contains stereo mixes of the tracks The Inner Light, Baby, You're a Rich Man, She's a Woman, and This Boy. Past Masters was initially released as 2 separate CDs on March 7, 1988, with a 2-LP vinyl set combining both volumes following on October 24, 1988 in the United States and November 10, 1988 in the United Kingdom.
Extended plays. Singles.
The single My Bonnie was credited to Tony Sheridan and the Beat Brothers. ABCDEFGH. The single was only released in select European territories. ABC Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and With a Little Help from My Friends were released as a double A-side single, with A Day in Their Life serving as the B-side. Baby It's You was released as a CD maxi single with the tracks I'll Follow the Sun, Devil in Her Heart, and Boys.
Videography. Music videos.